Hello everyone, this is Dave from Dave's Wreaths and Things. Welcome to Halloweek. Today is day number 3, episode number 3 of my Halloweek 2025 series. Don't forget to click that link right down below. There's a playlist there. You can click on the link and that'll bring you to all of the episodes of Halloweek 2025. Why don't I just get started and I'll show you what I made for day number 3 of Halloweek. Today I'm going to be using the square wire wreath frame 5-inch deco mesh that comes in black and purple, this 20 LED micro dot lights in orange. I have 2.5-inch wired ribbon. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use yet from my stash, but I'm going to decide later. And these eyeballs in different colors. They're kind of like a ping pong material. And my regular crafting utensils to create this project today. I'm going to start off with my wire wreath frame and my black deco mesh, and I'm going to wrap this around the entire frame, but first I'm going to add some hot glue to my wire frame, use my handy dandy little silicone tool, and then I'm just going to wrap my heart's content all the way around that wire frame. I'm not being too careful with it, I'm just kind of doing it willy-nilly, if you will. Because I know it's going to be covered, and then I'm going to take the excess, glue that right down to the back side, and then cut off that excess as well, and we have our first layer of deco mesh done in black. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing in the purple deco mesh. Again, I'm using my tool so I don't burn my fingers, and then I'm coming around and I'm wrapping that deco mesh. Now this time I am being a little bit more careful with the purple because it's going to be visible. At the very end, glue that extra piece down using that handy dandy tool, and then I'm going to cut the excess off, and that's creating our base wreath frame all ready to decorate. And I'm testing out my lights first before I glue everything down. I'm turning off the studio lights, and you can see my lights work perfectly. And then what I'm going to do is every now and then I'm just going to add a hot glue dot, put the little LED light in there, and then I'm going to add a little bit more hot glue on each side. So it's not necessarily the hot glue on the LED light, but beside it. Now, I did have an idea in my mind that I'm going to have the wire on the outside to make it a little more rustic looking, make it look like kind of scrolls, you know what I mean? You can see the black lines scrolling, and I'm trying to bend it in a scroll pattern. It didn't really work out that way, but hey, we always got to try, right? But I loved it in the end anyways. So at the very end, when I got everything done, I'm going to glue that battery pack on the back, and then I'm going to take those ping pong balls using an X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to cut a little hole right at the back. They weren't too hard to cut, but I am just going to say be careful with that X-Acto knife. Don't press too hard if you're going to do the same thing with the same material, because I found a light touch really worked so much better, and I had more control over my X-Acto knife. Once I have all my holes cut on the back sides, I'm just going to add some hot glue around the holes, and then I'm going to glue down those eyeballs at every point where I have an LED light. So the whole idea is to have that LED light glow inside of our eyeballs. And once I'm done that, of course, we have to test it out. I'm just going to reach around the back side, try to find that on switch somewhere. There it is. And then, of course, I'm going to turn off my studio lights to see what it looks like in the dark. And wow, I was smiling from ear to ear. This just made me so happy. I loved how it looked. I kept turning on and off the light just to see how it looks during the day, then how it looks during the night. I was one happy wreath maker, that is for sure. For my ribbon today, I'm going to do a lazy man ribbon, or I like to call it a lazy man ribbon anyways. We are just cutting that ribbon. I decided to use this 2.5-inch wired ribbon. I loved the pattern of it, so I'm cutting 12-inch lengths. I'm cutting 3 of those, and then I'm coming back and I'm going to cut 3 10-inch lengths, and then I'm going to come back and cut 3 8-inch lengths using the same ribbon. So again, I'm using 3 pieces cut at 12 inches, 3 pieces cut at 10 inches, 3 pieces cut at 8 inches, and I'm also going to cut about 18 inches for tails. And that's about 2 yards without the tails. I'm going to bring in my handy dandy little stapler, fold my ribbon in half. It's going to create a little teardrop shape. Don't fold that center part, and then I'm just going to staple 3 times right down the end, creating that little loop that we'll use for our ribbons. I'm going to do that for the 8-inch lengths, 10-inch lengths, and 12-inch lengths, so we'll have a total of 9 loops for our Lazy Man bow. And here I am just trying to decide where the center is going to be for all of my ribbon and where to start the bow. I'm going to bring in that piece that I cut for the tail, fold it in half, figure out where I want it to go, cut that in half, and then I'm going to fold that over, creating dovetails by cutting on an angle just to finish that off. And with this bow, it's basically a hot glue gun bow, really, with a whole bunch of ribbon and hot glue. And the back side of the tails I'm going to glue right at the center. And then I'm going to start with my longest loops first. These are going to be the 12-inch cuts that we did before, and I'm going to glue 3 of those down using hot glue right at the ends where we stapled. And you can kind of see here I'm creating like a little trifecta with those, and then I'm going to come in with our 10-inch bows, and I'm going to go right in the middle of our previous ones I just put down. So I'm filling up the space, and I am moving my wreath frame all around so I can see it on all different angles. With the smaller ones, I'm going to put 2 on each side right underneath the first layer of bow, just to kind of create more interest, create a little bit of a bigger bow. And then our last small piece I'm going to place right in the center, and I'm going to fluff that up for a little loop right in the center. Of course, we do a little fluffing up here on Dave's Recent Things as always. And here it is during the dark or the nighttime with our eyes just glowing. And here it is on my door during the day, that beautiful Lazy Man bow that I love to create, our deco mesh wrapped wreath frame, and those glow-in-the-dark eyeballs, which I think is the highlight of this wreath. I had so many requests for a Halloween wreath that lit up, and here we go. And we have some bloopers today for you to put a smile on your face. I am enjoying it. I know you're enjoying it from all the comments, so thank you so much for watching. I am not going to say too much. No. Hello, everyone. This is Dave from Dave's Recent Things. Welcome to Halloweek. Today is day number 3, episode number... I'm not going to say too much today. I always love leaving it a little bit of a surprise of what we're doing during Halloweek series. So today I'm zoop, and you'll find out. No. And just a little reminder to click that playlist right down below, which will take you to all of the previous episodes of Halloweek 2025. Thank you so much for watching and joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload a new project. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye for now.